It's going to have the exact opposite effect. It's going to have great stimulation for weight loss, metabolism, but also for hormones, and it will make you feel better. It contains compounds that magically increase your desire, and this is both for men and women. Like he's ready to go now after just a few bites, and he runs off to his girlfriend. And you can sprinkle it on anything. You can just throw it in a protein shake. It is incredibly helpful for improving libido and sex drive, as well as sexual pleasure.
He's built multi-million-dollar companies. His explosive books on health and wealth have sold over 60 million copies. Now, the Kevin Trudeau Show they don't want you to know.
Welcome, everyone. Kevin Trudeau here. The 10 foods that you need to be eating if you want to have a better sex life, both for men and women. What foods are they? Well, number one, dark chocolate. Now, when you get dark chocolate, you want organic dark chocolate. Read the ingredient list. It should have only 2 or 3 ingredients. Organic dark chocolate, maybe some organic sugar, maybe some organic lecithin. It's usually all there is in there. Raw chocolate is fine. You don't want processed. Raw is better. The dark chocolate has certain components in there that release endorphins, which are the feel-good hormones, and they're the love hormones. This is why women crave chocolate, generally speaking, especially during their menstrual cycle, and at times when they're feeling a little low, because when you eat a little bit, and the great thing about organic dark chocolate, the darker the better, the higher percentage of cacao, the better. It's bitter, so you can't eat a lot. You only eat like 1 or 2 bites. It's not going to make you fat at all. As a matter of fact, it's going to have the exact opposite effect. It's going to have great stimulation for weight loss, metabolism, but also for hormones, and it will make you feel better. And when that happens in the body, when you feel good and you have these love-releasing hormones, the pheromones that the body produces, which attract the opposite sex, starts to kick into gear. This is going to make you feel more love toward the other person. It's going to make you feel better. It's really something that's significant. So consider that on occasion. Next, if you want to have a better sex life, you need to have increased circulation in the body and increased oxygenated in your body. The more oxygen your body has, the more circulation and the better the circulation is, the improved blood flow to the genital area, you're going to have much better sex. Not just for performance, but the way you feel, the intensity of orgasm, the intensity of pleasure goes up with circulation. Now, clearly, exercise is critical to that, and the best type of exercise is rebounding on a rebounder. Al Carter has the best rebounder, I believe, on the planet. It'll last forever. We have one here in the office. And by getting on there for just 5 minutes a day, it'll release endorphins. It stimulates lymphatic system, which means the lymph fluid starts to flow better. It makes you feel good. So you have those benefits as well, but it also increases oxygenation and it increases blood flow. But forget exercise. The foods you should eat are salmon or salmon and sardines. Now, a couple things about this. Most salmon today is farm raised. So when you eat salmon, try to get it from Norway, New Zealand. They have the cleanest farm-raised salmon. Or get wild-caught salmon that is caught in the ocean or in a wild situation, so it's not farm-raised. The problem with farm-raised is they're fed, the animals, the salmon, the fish, are fed little pellets. Most of them come from Cargill, and they're just poison. They're swimming in a cesspool. So it's just not as clean a fish. It's not as healthy a fish as opposed to wild. There are a lot of different salmons: Alaskan salmon, Norwegian salmon, New Zealand salmon, Tasmanian salmon. The best salmon on the planet is Tasmanian salmon. I was just talking to Louis, who runs the Boston Fish Market here in the Chicagoland area. He's from Boston originally, although he's Greek. And we both worked for Anthony Athanas, amazingly enough. We knew a lot of the same people. And we were having this long discussion about salmon. And he had like 3 different kinds on the menu. And he says, well, this one's going to be dry. It's Alaskan. And this organic New Zealand, which is farm raised, will be much moister. It's fattier. And even though it's organic, it's a high quality organic fish. And I said, what about Tasmanian? He goes, man, nobody knows about that. You're the only guy I met who knows about Tasmanian salmon. It's wild and it's the best of all time, but it's very expensive. It's very hard to find. So salmon is excellent, and also sardines. Now, when you get sardines, make sure it comes in extra virgin olive oil. You don't want soy. You want extra virgin olive oil. And the sardines are loaded with omegas, which help the circulation. They also stimulate feel-good hormones. It's good for your heart, and it improves sex life. Next is avocados. Avocados, loaded with fat. They are not something that you can eat a whole bowl of guacamole and expect to lose weight, because it's a lot of calories, and the calories are coming from fat, although it's a very, very, very good fat. And it does all the other benefits we've been talking about: releasing endorphins, increasing circulation, stimulating sex hormone production, increasing desire. Very, very critical. Next is any type of hot pepper. The hotter, the better. Hot peppers stimulate all wonderful things in your body. They also stimulate metabolism. It increases your metabolic rate, which also is going to increase circulation, improve digestion, stimulate weight loss, but it also increases all of the sex hormones and increases desire and makes sex better. Next, and this was popularized, by the way, on Seinfeld, an episode of Seinfeld: watermelon and cantaloupe. You have half a cantaloupe or some watermelon. It contains compounds that magically increase your desire, and this is both for men and women, increase sexual urge and increase sexual pleasure. And in this really, really funny episode of Seinfeld, he would have a couple little bits of watermelon and all of a sudden, or cantaloupe, and George was like, I gotta go. And he's ready to go now after just a few bites, and he runs off to his girlfriend, and Kramer was doing the same thing. It was kind of a funny episode. But cantaloupe and watermelon, or ideally organic cantaloupe and watermelon. Next is grass-fed beef. Grass-fed beef, particularly from Argentina, is loaded with an element called CLA. And Trey, if we can kind of put that on the screen there. CLA is the main ingredient that's very, very high in grass-fed beef. It's not high in regular corn-fed beef. In corn-fed beef, it's very, very low. Corn-fed beef is not good for sex or improving sex life. But grass-fed beef with CLA in it is very, very powerful. Conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, and I'm not the Tylenol. Conjugated linoleic acid, CLA. You can actually get a bottle of that CLA, and you can take this. When do you take it? Ideally at night. And when you take it at night, it stimulates weight loss as well. So CLA or grass-fed beef will have an amazing effect. It increases testosterone in men, and it increases all sex-producing hormones in women, making, again, sex more pleasurable and increasing desire or libido. Next is lecithin. Lecithin is a powerful ingredient that you can get in capsules or in powder. You can sprinkle it on anything. You can just throw it in a protein shake. You can sprinkle it on, or you can get lecithin in different forms, liquid or powder or capsules. It is incredibly helpful for improving libido and sex drive, as well as sexual pleasure. And it works best when taken with the next ingredient, which is zinc. Zinc is zinc is zinc. You can get liquid zinc. You can get zinc in capsules. Zinc is really great, both for men and women. And when taken with lecithin, it will have an amazingly powerful impact on your sex drive. Next is ginseng. Now, ginseng, there are many forms. There's American ginseng, which comes from Wisconsin. There's Siberian ginseng. There's Chinese ginseng. It's a root, and each of the ginsengs are very different. I haven't found one that's a blend of all the different forms of ginseng. So if you do want to take ginseng, do not take it every day. Everything else you can eat as much as you want or take as much as you want. But ginseng, because it is so stimulatory, you only want to take it on occasion. So 2 to 3 times a week really is max. Otherwise, you're going to overstimulate the adrenals, and you don't want to do that. But ginseng is a very powerful root and food, because it is a food, it's just a root, and you can get it in capsules, which stimulate sex drive, virility, libido, and performance. Next is vitamin E. Vitamin E is another powerful ingredient for sex because it improves circulation, but you want to get a full spectrum vitamin E. And maybe you can find this tray. It's called Unique E. Unique E. Our new company, World's Best Nutritionals and Organic, is also in formulating the world's best vitamin E. But right now, one of the best out there is a product called Unique E, because it has tocotrienols. There it is right there. That's not the Unique E one. That's the tocotrienol one. Oh, yeah, it is Unique E. Unique E with tocotrienols, right. It's a very powerful product. You can find it online. So these are the things that if you take them, it will improve sex life. Now, clearly, exercise is very important. Reducing stress, meditation will also improve sexual desire, amazingly enough, because meditation reduces stress, exercise, and breathing. I did an episode on meditation, which you should listen to or watch. And I also did an episode on breathing in and out through the nose, putting your attention 2 inches below your belly button, relax your face, relax your stomach, and breathe in through the nose normally, and the stomach goes out a little bit, and breathe out through the nose normally, and the stomach goes in a little bit. If you do that 5 breaths 2 to 3 times a day, you'll reduce stress, but also increase sexual desire and libido. It's a simple procedure and really, really powerful. There's other things you can do as well. Oxytocin is a powerful pheromone that you can either take internally or you can get a spray of oxytocin. When you smell it yourself, it increases libido, sexual pleasure, sexual desire. And when your partner smells it, there's a bond between you and your partner that goes up dramatically, and it's based on oxytocin. Also, pheromones. If you want to increase your libido, you can buy pheromones. Athena is a company that has the best pheromones out there. You can take them straight or you can mix it with your cologne. These pheromones, when you smell them, increase libido because it helps increase all the secretion of sex hormones in the body. It increases desire, and it will connect you with your partner. It'll make them more attractive to you. So both of you have an increased libido, an increased sexual desire. Women get wetter faster, men get harder faster, and sex just becomes much, much better. Now, I also want to talk about the things that you shouldn't be eating, because even if you don't do any of those things, if you just eliminate or reduce the things I'm going to mention now, your sex life will dramatically improve. And I did a show on the 10 foods you should never eat, and they're very similar. Number 1 is soy. Almost all soy is genetically modified, and it mostly comes from Monsanto. Soy, when men consume soy, their testosterone levels go down and estrogen goes up. It feminizes men. It also makes you fatter. If you look in your house at your salad dressings, look at anything that's canned or boxed, you're going to find that soy is in so many things. Usually it's a soy oil, but soy in any form should be virtually eliminated from your diet, with the exception of perhaps some organic tofu, which is soy-based, but it's not genetically modified from Monsanto, and ideally from Japan. Otherwise than that, soy is just no good at all for sex drive. It's terrible for your health, and because it's genetically modified, it messes up your entire digestion system. It's bad for your colon, and it makes you gain weight. So eliminate soy and look at all the ingredients on what you have in your house. If it has soy in it, throw it away. Next is corn. You've heard me talk about this before. There was a great documentary years ago called King Corn. Even though it's old, I think it's over 20 years old, it's still a great documentary. Corn, almost all corn, comes from Monsanto. It's a genetically modified corn. It was designed specifically to be fed to cows to get them fatter, faster, and make them more docile. That's what it was designed for, so that a person could raise cattle and then bring their cattle to slaughter and to market much quicker with a high fat content in the beef, therefore it would taste better. That's why corn was developed. Cows don't eat corn. Bulls, any type of bovine, they don't eat corn, they eat grass. So when they're fed corn, it's completely unnatural, and it really makes the meat and what they produce, whether it's milk or whatever, completely unhealthy for you. But what corn will do in all forms is it will reduce testosterone, and then ladies, reduce the sex hormones, reduce desire, make you fat, and make sex less pleasurable. And for men, it'll also make it more difficult to get an erection. Corn, if you look in your food, it's in everything. High fructose corn syrup solids, corn meal. There are dozens of different names. If it has corn, throw it away. It's really unhealthy for you, in addition to screwing up your sex life. Next, fried foods. Now, I like fried food. I like fried chicken. I like French fries. But the problem with fried food is when you buy fried food, whether it's potato chips or anything that's fried, the oil that they're using almost always is soybean oil, genetically modified, or some other type of trans fat oil. And the oil goes rancid. So in the production of fried food, and when you go to your local restaurant and get anything fried fish, fried chicken, whatever, the oil is the problem, not the frying process. If you're going to fry food at home, use beef lard or duck fat. Now, if you use beef lard from organic grass-fed cows, it's got to be grass-fed cows, beef lard from grass-fed cows, or if you use duck fat, then you have no problem with fried food, and it'll taste infinitely better. A lot of people don't know that when McDonald's first started, their French fries were cooked in beef fat, and that's why they tasted so good. Then they changed it to a horrible, poisonous vegetable fat, and they don't taste like anything anymore, so they have to add all these chemicals. So stay away from fried food. The fried food, when you use those crappy oils, the oils become trans fats, which I'll talk about in a minute, and screw up circulation, and they're just really, really bad for you. Next is wheat, especially in America. I did a show on this. Wheat in America is hybrid. It's not genetically modified, but it's a hybrid. They usually use hard wheat with a lot of protein in it and very high in gluten. The problem is they don't ferment it when they grind up the wheat. They usually only do it for 8 hours, where it was supposed to be done for 36 hours or longer, so that it's already pre-digested and therefore the body can consume it. The body doesn't handle unfermented or fermented for a very short period of time wheat with a high gluten content, which is what we get in almost every product, whether it's bread, and just look at your ingredients if it has wheat in it. It messes up the digestion, it messes up sex hormone production, It screws up libido, and it makes you fat. So stay away from wheat. Now, if you're going to eat wheat like I do, I like pasta. I'm Italian. I like pasta. I get my pasta, organic pasta, from Italy. So I know that the wheat has been fermented for 36 hours. And I have people that say, well, I'm gluten intolerant. Kevin, I can't eat gluten. I have a celiac disease, or I'm gluten intolerant. No, you're intolerant to the wheat in America or Canada and many countries now. So why don't you try this pasta? Take a little bite and see how you feel. And people say, number one, I'm not bloated. I have no symptoms. I have no reaction. And I eat a normal portion. For some reason, it fills me up, but not in a bloated way. So if you're going to have wheat, you have to have organic wheat from Italy, like pasta. You can't really find any bread anywhere in the United States. And we know that there's something wrong with this because these wheat products also have all these other ingredients in it that don't even have to be listed on the label. They're called dough conditioners and things like this. If you take real wheat and make fresh bread, let's say in France or something, or Italy, the baker makes the bread in the morning, and you would go to the baker and get fresh bread. It was made an hour, 2 hours ago, and you'd eat it. If you take that loaf of bread that you bought in the morning, the next day, it's hard as a rock. You can't even eat it. That's real bread. When you buy bread in America, even from the bakeries, you can buy a loaf of bread, and it'll be soft for a week. It won't get moldy. And they say, well, there's no ingredients in it. No, there's ingredients that aren't listed on the label. They're poisons. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to be in charge, and he's attacking all of these poisonous chemicals, which are illegal in most countries in the world, but not in America. We're going to be changing things. Next, trans fats. Well, what is that? That's a tricky word. On most of the labels, some of them say how many trans fats are in it. So if it has trans fats, throw it away. But just look for hydrogenated oil. That's on your label. If it has hydrogenated oil, throw it away. If it has partially hydrogenated oil, throw it away. This is deadly. These trans fats not only block up your arteries, which mess up your circulation, which has an adverse effect on sex, it also screws up all of your hormones, making you get fat faster. So there's multiple benefits of doing some of the things I'm suggesting here, because not only will it increase sex, desire, libido, pleasure, erections in men, wetness and desire in women, but it'll also help you have more energy. It'll reduce depression. It'll increase happiness and make you lose weight. Everything I'm saying has those effects as well. So stay away from trans fats. Next, monosodium glutamate, MSG. This is in so many products. And if it says hydrolyzed vegetable protein, that's MSG. There's a little trick. If you see on the label no MSG added, that means it's in there. Because they're not adding MSG, but they're putting a product in there, such as hydrolyzed vegetable protein, which is a natural occurring source of MSG. It is created in the ultra processing method of producing it. So when it says no MSG added, that means it does have MSG in it, and you want to stay away from MSG. It's called an excitotoxin. It makes you depressed. It increases appetite. It makes you get fat faster and reduces libido and sexual drive and desire. So stay away from MSG or anything like hydrolyzed vegetable protein. Next, artificial sweeteners. This includes NutraSweet, aspartame. Aspartame is the ingredient, NutraSweet is the brand. Sucralose. These are deadly poisons. They do all the things I mentioned. They're going to increase appetite. They're going to make you fatter. They're going to screw up your hormones. It's going to make you depressed. People take this because they think their sugar is bad. Organic cane sugar is not bad. It's the artificial sweeteners that are bad, including xylitol. Stay away from this, and all the benefits you get are going to increase. Next is nitrites. Now, nitrites are in processed meat products. Hot dogs, salamis, any type of processed meat has nitrites in it. Sodium, nitrite, and so forth. It does everything I just mentioned. Increases appetite, increases weight gain, messes up your emotions, makes you depressed, and reduces sex-producing hormones, reducing libido and the ability to perform. Next is alcohol in high amounts. If I'm on a date, I'm going to have maybe one drink. But if I think, this date could lead to something more a little later on, or if I'm with a girlfriend that I am having a sexual relationship with, and we're out for dinner or out for a couple drinks, and then we're going to go home and make love, I want to make sure that I can perform. I am not having 2, 3, 4 drinks, because if I do, it's going to have an adverse effect. Not complete inability to perform, but just not as good, which means it's not as good for my partner. So one drink is okay with food, but don't start going crazy. So stay away and reduce the alcohol, not only on the nights that you think you're going to have sex with somebody, but on the other nights as well, because alcohol has to be processed by the liver. The liver is a very critical element to hormone production. And when you're drinking 2 or 3 drinks a night, women drinking 2 or 3 glasses of wine every single night to relax, you're an alcoholic, you don't realize it, plus it's making you fat, it's too much sugar, it's messing up your hormones and reducing your libido and sex drive. So reduce alcohol dramatically if you want to have a better sex life all the time. And lastly, stay away from high sodium food. Sodium is a crazy word because there is good sodium and bad, but if you just stay away from high sodium foods, such as the lunch meats, potato chips, and just read the label. If it has a high amount of sodium in it, my gosh, canned soups, unless it's an organic canned soup, which is low in sodium, the sodium that's put in all processed foods is the cheapest, worst sodium they can find. So they use different forms. It's not organic, or you can't get organic, but it's not natural sea salt, like from France or from a certain area in Mexico. Or it's not Himalayan pink salt. Pink salt either comes from Utah or Pakistan. We call it Himalayan. But it's rock that's pink, that's salt, it's sodium, and it's ground up. That's okay. But once you start getting iodized salt from Morton or some of these processed salts, no good. Sea salt is okay because they take seawater, dehydrate it, and that salt, that sodium's okay. And the pink salt, which comes out of the rock, so they're just taking rock and grinding it up into a powder in the various grinds. That's the 2 best kinds of salt. But the sodium that's in processed foods, reduce. And if you do, then things will get very, very better. Look, love and sex is something that's beautiful and unique and special. Relationships are the most important thing in our life at the end of the day. Once you start going into your later years, it's not how much money you made. It's not how many things you acquired. It's not what position or status you got. It's not how many accolades that you got. What you treasure the most are the connections that you've established with other people, the friendships. And if you can say that you have a friend for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years or 40 years, that's still a friend, somebody that you connected with. If you have a lover that's in your life that you connect with on even a more intimate level than a friend, that's the special part. That's the important part. So consider that relationships are something that you really should be dialed in on. Now, I want to give you just a little update. It's Monday. Last week on Friday, I was capable, thanks to you, of writing the check to the government for $725,000, effectively ending the case. Now is the next step. Now we have to figure out how we can make the payroll and keep the businesses going for the next 4 to 6 months while I get a chance to actually focus my attention on it and manifest these companies into huge profitability. And that's going to happen. I will next year give you a complete detail on how this miracle took place. And you're going to see in real life, in real time example of how you can use the techniques in Your Wish is Your Command, the audio program that I did, which is being called the Think and Grow Rich of Our Time. How to manifest what you want. And a question that comes up a lot is, here I am on the show, and I've been asking for some support and help. I've asked people to go to the fan club, become partners. We've had a dramatic increase in number of partners. We had a lot of partners up their partnership level. We had a lot of people give one-time contributions to help out. And a few people say, Kevin, if you knew how to manifest things, if the techniques in Your Wish is Your Command, that audio program, or your video, 10 Steps to Manifesting Your Dreams, if they really work, why do you have to ask us for money? And the answer is, the universe works through people. God works only through people. One of the big challenges people face is they have a misunderstanding, a complete misunderstanding of how you manifest things. They think that you can just define what you want clearly, see a picture of yourself in possession of that, feel now as if you actually were in possession of it, and therefore the universe, by the law of attraction, is going to make that happen and bring it into your life. And so then they sit home and they sit in front of the TV, or they're watching streaming stuff on their phone or computer, or they're messing around with social media, or they go out drinking, and they say, the law of attraction doesn't work. I haven't manifested anything. Two things happen. Number one, you have to physically do something. And number two, everything is manifested through people. Those are the two critical elements that you have to grasp. What occurs, if you look scripturally, it says, remember, it is God that gives you the power to gain wealth. It doesn't say that God will give you wealth. It says God gives you the power to create wealth. You have to do the effort. When you're utilizing the manifesting techniques properly, you will be inspired and motivated. The universe will give you ideas, will give you situations, events, circumstances, and people to help manifest your goals. But you have to put forth the effort. If you want to harvest, you have to plant seeds, which means you have to get some land, you have to prepare the soil, you have to get some seed, and you have to spend the time planting the seed. Then you have to pick the weeds. You have to make sure it's watered, make sure that the temperature is correct, make sure that there's sun. And you don't get a harvest the first week, the first month, the second month. You don't even see any results. Nothing is sprouting out of the ground sometimes for several months. And sometimes it's one season and sometimes more than one season, depending on what you planted. If you planted an apple tree, you're not going to get any apples for a while. But you still have to do the work until the harvest comes in. And in order for you to make money on that harvest, you have to then get people to buy your apples or your tomatoes or your watermelons, whatever you produced. This is what people miss. When you start using the techniques, the universe will create the circumstances, the conditions, the situations, events, and people. And in my particular case, this show was running. Many people were on social media. And when this situation came up, the universe had already provided the circumstances and conditions for me to manifest the money needed through people and through the platforms that we established, not knowing that we would need them. When you listen to that inner still voice and you heed to it and you put forth the effort, that's when you will see the results. Manifesting goals, dreams, and desires is something you absolutely can do. Absolutely. You can make your dreams come true because you were actually designed for accomplishment. You were engineered for success. You were endowed with the seeds of greatness. You have what it takes, but you have to do the work, and you have to do it now. Al Williams, who was the founder of A.L. Williams Company, which is now Primerica, multi-level marketing insurance company, had a book called Do It Now. And there was two elements there. Number one, you had to do it. That means physical actions. And you had to do it now. You can't wait. And there are axioms in my book, Nuggets of Gold, that character is following through on a decision long after the excitement and emotion has passed. Another one is do the right things long enough consistently. That's how you get results. If you want to manifest a 30-pound weight loss and a good-looking body in a bikini or a swimsuit, if that's what your goal is, that means it's not going to happen in 24 hours. You have to do two things. You have to change your diet, and then you have to exercise. Those are the right things you need to do. And you need to do those long enough consistently before you see the result. That's how you manifest things. And some of you think, well, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. Remember the other axiom in the book Nuggets of Gold. Successful people are always willing to do what the other guys are not willing to do. And there's another powerful axiom. Successful people are always too busy doing what the other guys are still talking about. Make sense? You can make your dreams come true. My situation, because of you, and because of the techniques that I've used, my case is effectively over. I do have another step now, and that is how to make payroll, because our accounts are pretty much wiped out. The partners, you partners in the Kevin Trudeau fan club are the lifesaver, because you've made a commitment to give a certain amount each month, and for that you are getting huge value and benefits. Huge, way beyond what you're giving. And that money that's coming in can now hopefully meet the payroll or close to that, make the overhead such as the rent, the electricity, the internet, and so forth. But you're going to watch miracles happen. And next year, I'll give you the whole story. Miracles are happening right now. More benefits are coming your way. This show is going to get better and better with more valuable information that can positively impact your life in so many, many ways. I'll have guests on the show that will talk about things that'll blow your mind, and everything we discuss will help you achieve your goals and dreams. I'm Kevin Trudeau. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like the video, share it with as many people as you can, and leave some comments. If you've used any of these techniques, leave some comments on how it's been effective for you, because the techniques work if you work it. I'm Kevin Trudeau. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.